My ultimate goal is to make sure that the water quality is always good. So every drop of water that the birds will take in, that needs to be 100% clean. So we don't have to wait till the downtime to make the step. No, you act during the cycle. I'm a huge fan to continuously, when possible, use the right sanitizers. I focus mainly on chlorine dioxide to make sure that every drop of water during the whole length of the cycle, that the water is 100% clean.
Hello and welcome to the Poultry Edge with me, Rebecca Tierney. We're focusing on all the latest news, information and advice for Irish poultry producers. In this episode, we will discuss terminal hygiene protocols, the process of cleaning and disinfecting after one flock, but a hugely important step for giving the next flock the best chance at a healthy, productive cycle. I'm delighted to be joined by Nick Paridaans, the International Poultry Hygiene Specialist from MS Schippers. What is meant by thermal hygiene in terms of poultry production?
What is meant by thermal hygiene? Then we really talk about the cleaning and disinfection procedures in the downtime, so in between the flocks. So make sure that your barn is ready for the next flock.
Why is this step so important for biosecurity, disease control? The process isn't just for the bigger diseases, I suppose, like avian influenza, Newcastle's disease, like we're hearing across Europe again. Sure, it's not. It's much more than that.
It's indeed way more important than just in case of any outbreaks. Most of the time, if you have an outbreak, then it gets more attention and more focus. But it should be the basic principle, of course, for every downtime, also without a certain disease outbreak. Why is that? Normally I would say, okay, hey, we pay a lot of attention and we put a lot of money in feed as well. We expect a lot of feed and the goal is to grow our birds, if we have broilers, for example, to grow them in the best way, the most efficient way, the best weights and so on. And we depend a lot on feed and other things, of course, but all the energy that comes from the feed can only be used once, and that's or for growth and or development, or for fighting diseases. So the bigger your disease pressure is in the barn, the more of your energy goes to that part, and the less energy you can put into growth or production or whatever animal you have. So for me, it's just part of your normal management to be really on top of your biosecurity and your cleaning and disinfection process.
Yeah, so we want to put as much energy into, as you say, the production target, whether that be eggs or meat gain. Would you say in your role, the approach to these procedures such as thermal hygiene and day-to-day biosecurity has changed, or maybe not changed but improved in recent years?
That's a good question. Interesting question. I must say the awareness for biosecurity has definitely been improved during the last years because we have more outbreaks, and then I refer back to what you mentioned, the avian influenza or Newcastle disease. So we have more outbreaks, so there's more pressure, so everybody is more aware of it. That doesn't mean immediately that everybody is also acting in the best way around it, but there is definitely more awareness. If you talk about hygiene in general, if you talk about food safety, especially here in Europe, there is more attention to food safety, like salmonella infections. So people are more aware of that as well. If you take a look at different other regions, then it's like in the northern part of America, and then you see that hygiene is on a way, lower level in that way, and they work more with dirt floors. They don't clean and or disinfect at all, or not that often. Sometimes only once a year. So it really depends per region, but in general, because of the outbreaks, let's say, then biosecurity has definitely been more important. There's more awareness.
Yeah, certainly. That's a good point about maybe more awareness, but how it's been carried out is different.
Yeah, that's the next step indeed. And then there's still a lot to win, to be honest.
Okay. So yeah, this should be a good guide for that. So for any poultry producers or any poultry farmers listening, When does the process of thermal hygiene or cleaning and disinfection commence? So is it when the person walks in and starts power washing, or is it sooner? So what I'm trying to get at here is, should a producer be considering their thermal hygiene while birds are still in the house? Is there repairs to be done? What products do they need to have ready? Who do they need to have lined up, etc.?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It definitely partly starts already before the cleaning and disinfection. So when the birds are still in the house. For example, if you talk about combating darkling beetles, the black bugs that we see a lot in poultry barns as well. There are huge carriers of diseases. A lot of pathogens can be transmitted via them, or they reinfect a flock. For me, that starts already before the chicks go out. So, for example, at the last day of your flock, that you will spread around some poison against it. But for the rest, if you really talk about really cleaning and disinfection, you can only do that properly when birds are out, of course, and the manure is gone. Talking about any repairs, most of the time it's easier to do that in the downtime, but make sure that if there are any residues of dust, of manure, or feed, or whatever left after that repair, make sure that you take it out during your cleaning process. So never repair anything anymore after you put your disinfection in.
Yes, very important. Would you walk us through, Nick, your recommended thermal hygiene process as a hygiene specialist for poultry? What would your recommended thermal hygiene process look like?
What I mentioned before, I would definitely start with an approach against the darkling beetles just before that the birds are going out. That you spray or spread the poison on certain surfaces already on the last day. For the rest, when the birds are out, take the manure out, and for the rest, flush out the whole barn. So remove all the dust, all the manure rest, so that, let's say, the barn looks visually clean. Let's put it that way. So you think already, hey, that's I've done a pretty good job. So, and then you come to the real cleaning step, and that's applying a detergent. For me, the detergent is the most important step of the whole process, because that really removes the dirt, also removes the fat and the protein layer, and in that fat and protein layer, all the pathogens. Every pathogen can hide there, but also can feed themselves. So there's, let's say, full protection and unlimited growth possible with that fat and protein layer. So that's a crucial step. Make sure that you use the right product with the right contact time. Foam needs to be, always apply it with foam. Why foam? Because foam means contact time, and in practice, make sure that you have like a very, I always call it a dry foam. So more like a shaving foam, that it really clings for a longer time to the surface, and especially the vertical surface that we have in the barn. So feeders, drinkers, walls, and of course the floor needs to be covered, but that's not vertical. If you have applied it, we always say, hey, make sure that you have a contact time of minimal 30 minutes. The longer, the better. In the end, the foam, the detergent, needs to do the job for you. But that also means that if you have a contact time of minimum 30 minutes or maybe an hour, then the foam needs to be there. It needs to still be there after those 30 or 60 minutes. If the foam is already gone after 5 minutes, you can wait for 30 minutes, but it doesn't make any difference because the foam is already gone, so the active ingredient is gone. It will not remove any more fat or proteins. So that's a crucial step. So after that required contact time, rinse it, high pressure, make sure that everything is completely clean. Check it afterwards. Check your the quality of your cleaning, and if you have to do some parts again, that's the right way to do it. For the rest, let it dry, the whole barn, as good as possible, as long as possible, before you apply your disinfectant. A wet disinfection of the barn is a must, and you could also add an extra dry disinfection, so fumigation afterwards. And for the rest, let it dry, and prepare the barn again for the next flock.
Okay, so I suppose in summary of what you've just said, we're controlling any pests, so dartling beetles, manure removal, washing it down, an initial wet flush of the house, shall we say, apply the detergent for the correct contact time with the correct consistency of a foam, rinse that off, check the quality of your wash to that point, allow it to dry, and then apply our disinfectant.
Yeah, correct.
How important is it to allow the house to dry properly before applying the disinfectant? So in some cases we have a contractor coming in and they're washing detergent, they're washing and potentially applying a disinfectant. How important just is the drying to get that proper uptake of the disinfectant?
Yeah, that's very important. That's crucial. Most of the time I see in practice that the surfaces are too wet. We have a limited period of time in the downtime, and everybody's in a hurry. So immediately after cleaning, we start with disinfection. But if there's still a lot of water in the concrete floor, or there are still some puddles on the floor, then you can imagine that when you put the disinfectant on top of it with the required concentration, that you will dilute it. So instead of the required, let's take 1% of product that you need to kill off everything, you will end up with maybe 0.5% or maybe less, because there's still a lot of moist in the concrete and also on top of the concrete with the puddles. So you will dilute your disinfectant and you make it, let's say, less effective or maybe ineffective.
So you mentioned during that your list of procedures to check the quality of the clean. Do you mean to swab the house after the cleaning and disinfection, or is that what you mean to check the clean, or is it just a visual inspection? And if it's only a visual, should the producer swab the house?
That's a good question. The first step that I would always take is to check the quality of the cleaning. So after cleaning, before disinfection, but check it in a visual way. So just look around, check all the corners, check some feeding pans, some drinking nipples, drinking lines, drinking cups, fans, inlets, you name it, whatever surface you can find, and the floor and the cracks, of course. Do first a visual check. If I still see a lot of dirt during my visual inspection, I can take a lot of samples, I can swap a lot, I can take ATP swaps, but it doesn't make any sense because I see already, hey, there's still a lot of dirt left. So first you have to remove that before you take any swaps. If you say, hey, I've done a visual inspection that looks really good, everything is clean, so no residues anymore, then you can swap it with, I always recommend ATP swaps. ATP is like the energy source in organic material, so also pathogens. So if you find a lot of ATP, then you know that there's still a lot of organic material left. So the cleaning was not optimal. If you find low numbers, of course, then your house is cleaned well. You've degreased it well. So I would put the most focus on the inspection, or if you want to check it, swap it or whatever, do it after cleaning and not necessarily after disinfection. Why after cleaning? As we discussed before, the step with the detergent, the real cleaning, is the most important step. And if you haven't done a good job with your cleaning, with your detergent, then your disinfection step is very limited. It's really the effect is really reduced as well. So put most of the focus on the check after your cleaning.
Okay, because probably most would, and correct me if I'm wrong, probably most carry it out after disinfection.
That's correct. then they use some Rodak plates, for example, to put some plates and some agar plates on different surfaces, and then check the bacterial growth. It's a very limited test.
So the drinking system or our water systems, they're another key area for consideration, probably an area that has got extra focus, and you even joined us here in Ireland, Nick, for a presentation on that. What steps should a producer follow for water and for their drinking systems to prepare it and to clean it and have it ready for the next flock?
If you have the opportunity, and now we're talking about the terminal hygiene, so really cleaning out everything in the downtime, then I would make sure that you really use that time to clean out the drinking lines thoroughly. So most of the time we use products based on hydrogen peroxide and or with peracetic acid. They're pretty, let's say, aggressive, good cleaners, especially for in the downtime, not really during the cycle, but really for the downtime. And then you can really make a huge step. But the most important part for me is if there's a huge biofilm that can be found in the downtime, and we really need that hydrogen peroxide to clean it out. That also means that there was already a huge biofilm, a lot of pollution during the cycle. And that means that the birds had bad quality of water that they have drunk so far during the cycle. So that's not optimal. So my ultimate goal is to create, to make sure that the water quality is always good. So every drop of water that the birds will take in, that needs to be 100% clean. So we don't have to wait till the downtime to make the step. No, you act during the cycle. So I'm a huge fan to continuously, when possible, use the right sanitizers. I focus mainly on chlorine dioxide to make sure that every drop of water during the whole length of the cycle, that the water is 100% clean. So my ultimate goal is that you don't even have to do a treatment in the downtime, because my goal should be, hey, the lines at the last day of the flock of the cycle needs still be 100% clean. So that should be my ultimate goal regarding drinking water. So make sure that you focus on it as much as possible during the cycle, and monitor that as well. So then I also come back to the same part. Make sure that you monitor the result of what you do.
Yes, yeah, and we did touch a little bit on that in our last podcast episode. And just briefly, to finish us off, we're coming into summer, or supposed to be in summer, although the weather doesn't give that impression here in Ireland, unfortunately. How can producers control or manage fly populations on their poultry sites?
One thing is with layers, for example, if you can take out the manure a couple of times per week, out of the barn, that will save you a lot of flies. And so the less manure in the barn, the better it is. That's not always possible. For example, with the broiler breeders, normally they don't take out the manure. So what are other possibilities is to treat the manure. For example, you treat the manure on top of the slatted floor, for example, with some products like maggot death or whatever that prevents that maggots will develop into flies. So then you really try to prevent that problem. I think in general, if you really talk about this whole podcast, everything is about prevention. That goes from cleaning and disinfection to water sanitation to fly populations. I think that's more or less the key message. So don't wait till the moment that you have the issues, but act already before.
A brilliant way to finish, Nick. Thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll have you back again at some stage.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
That's all for today's podcast. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to rate, review, and follow the Poultry Edge wherever you get your podcasts.